which, as I read it, was really this, I think, kind of radical but very needed wake up call to all of us living in the matrix, living within this construct we call civilization and modernized Western society, to say, hey, is this really the best thing? We've all only known this, right? It's so hard. We have this amnesia built into our existence as humans. None of us grew up as hunter-gatherers and then became societally civilized. We've all only grown up in this pond. This pond is all we know. And yet, I love that in this book, you're starting to question, is this really the best way for humans to live? And I loved that anecdote and that story, tragic though it may be. And in the book, you kind of tied it into this idea about we're holding on to civilization too long, or maybe we just are too scared to let go because we've risen so high above this and we don't know what's going to happen when we let go. Or also the fact that we've just gripped onto agriculture, which perhaps was the beginning of our civilization and this farming pastoralist society. And maybe that's led us down this road of discontent, though we're so steeped in it that we don't even realize how unhappy we might be today.
Yeah, it's an interesting conundrum, isn't it? Because, as you say, virtually all of us were born into this particular world that we're in. And so it's very difficult to have any sort of objective perspective on it. It's like asking, fish about the water, and they're like, what's water? Why would a fish know what water is? It's just their reality. But on the other hand, we do have, as you well know, we have a lot of resonance with a hunter-gatherer life that, we're still connected to it because it's where we came from. And so it's literally built into our DNA. We were talking about Montana, right? Why do I spend 3 or 4 months every year living in my van? Well, it's because I love sitting by a fire in the evening. I love getting up in the morning and jumping in a river instead of stepping into a shower, a cold river. I love looking up at the stars at night. Why? Well, because that's what my species has done forever. And so both you and I are in the business of trying to trace these connections to our past. And as you said, like, we don't know we're unhappy, and yet I think we know we're unhappy. We just don't know why. And I think, it's demonstrable that depression is a global epidemic. Suicide rates are very high and climbing in the richest countries in the world. Drug abuse and all sorts of compulsive behaviors. These are signs of organisms that are not in alignment with their environment. And so I think it's demonstrably true that there is something troubling us as a species. And I think you and I have both arrived at the conclusion that what's troubling us is that we're so out of alignment with the life we were evolved to live. My first book, Sex at Dawn, is looking at the same question, but from a viewpoint of sexuality and relationships. And Civilized to Death, I tried to expand it out to other parts of life, ranging from how we raise children to how we work, how we sleep, how we eat, how we die.